In the blue, we've got the club. In the orange, FaZe Clan. A best of 7 to advance in the bracket. Let's get to the Verizon Skybox for the call.
Two teams absolutely desperate to prove that they are not the third best team in their region. Both capable of so much more, but Stumpy Goblin, who's going to be the first to prove that they can go all the way in a tournament like this?
Well, when you look at the numbers, as we so likely like to do, you look at FaZe, you look at them internationally, they've got a fantastic win record. Between 62 and 67% between games and wins, and series rather wins across the world. Over the club, they are yet to beat a North American team. They have lost to SSG and V1 here. This is their first RLCS together. This is where they try and change that.
They have been running well, though, against these North American teams. A couple of games against SSG is impressive. A couple against V1, who warmed up in the Swiss, also impressive. So FaZe Clan will not be coming into this one thinking for a split second it will be simple. Simple makes it almost look simple with an early shot, and FaZe Clan are getting some early pressure as well. Look at the clean touches they're able to make. Astromic, he has to stand so tall for the club, the man with the experience.
We first saw him back at the Fall Major as well, which was a lot of fun over on Era Eternity, but since then, he's just been picking up teammate after teammate, trying to get a new vibe. But AJ, he said the vibes on this team have never been better, and so far it looks very good. The offense from FaZe Clan, as Gibbs was saying, the best that we have seen coming out of North America.
A really interesting comment as well from AJ, saying they are the smartest team. Now, when I think of FaZe Clan, I think of a lot of compliments. I think of brilliant mechanics. I think of individual just ability to break through any defense. I don't necessarily think of gameplay intelligence. The Astromic almost gets an early goal and lost. Follows it up, showing that FaZe Clan defense can indeed be breached.
Kicking it off with the pass coming from Astromic. He dunks on first killer. Actually, it's a threatening shot onto AJ, who he then removes from the line. Lost a brilliant start, fist bumps all round on the blue side of the stage.
And it was Astromic who, when he first rose to prominence in the South American scene, he was the ball chaser, he was the attacker, he was the big man who always wanted to put the ball away. But since creating this team of KV1 and Lost alongside him, he's really stepped back a little bit, more of a third-man role. First killer, he definitely doesn't have a third-man role, as he attacks that one.
And that's the thing with Astromic as well. Previously, when we saw him in the Fall Major, he was on Era Eternity alongside Snips and Math. But instead, he's been switching them out. He's been trying to make this fantastic team. And coming through by the hand of Furia as well, their work at the Spring Major, where to get the club to this LAN, they had to go through FaZe Clan. They did so, earned enough points. So the club have got Furia to thank, and FaZe Clan, they do not want to be thanking them at all.
Everything coming full circle as we find ourselves this opening day of Group B, this opening game even of Group B. Simple goes to the side. FaZe Clan find themselves a goal behind. Have to put some work in. After a few clean touches at the start of the game, it's really been the club who are looking slightly more aggressive and attacking and dangerous. Astromic gets an early shot, lost goes for the redirect, and Typical gets that one to the side.
Fancy something cheeky, but instead First Killer and Typical both working their way down the pitch. Lost though, able to take that touch. AJ diving in and giving up a lot of possession towards the club. A miss from Lost leaves it to KV1 to hold down that back line. Typical in the sky with that pinching towards the goal. First Killer is up, saved away by Lost.
Lost, who has been their MVP throughout the final split. He is a wonderful player, so aggressive, so attacking. We'll get loads of touches, but AJ has to get involved in the attack. Typical takes a touch. Astromic up against him so quickly. First killer is there. What can he do from the skies? He gets the flip reset. It's over the top. He follows it up. He's almost there. AJ, though, will finish it via an Astromic touch, but FaZe Clan do equalize.
First got a great shot onto that back ball with the flip reset. KV1 did not know what was coming, and Lost also had to avoid that ballistic missile coming his way. AJ, great positioning, and it was mentioned on the desk. He's now sitting in the middle. One interesting place to be putting him, but he is a rock. He is able to keep his brain incredibly stoic no matter what happens. Sure, he'll be disappointed or elated, but he will be keeping everybody on the exact same page. And that's before we even talk about Rolders standing right behind him. Their brand new coach, a good friend of ours. He is going to have to try and figure out what this team needs to break through into those grand finals.
Yeah, and we're already seeing that there may be some tweaks required for FaZe Clan. They did get that equalizer, but it was from First Killer's mechanics. I think general play, well, it's a little bit better, but now FaZe Clan are starting to ramp up the attack, growing into this one, that opening match of this World Championships, lest he forgets. Lost takes the touch. Down the corner he goes. First Killer's been beaten. Typical's touch is only into the center, but it's good for First Killer. KV1, though, look at the pace from him. He's a player that started a bit slowly at the start of this tournament, but he's improved so much. That one might be going straight in off the post, off the crossbar.
Oh, my word.
Finally away from typical. FaZe get away with it, but now the there's lost. It's saved again. FaZe having to do so much defense.
The clutch defense at that as well. The double save coming in from AJ. Nearly actually sent it in on that first one, but it is all forgiven as we stay at 1-1 with 1 minute 10 left. An attack coming down though. Astromic and Lost trying to link up in the midfield. KV1 to take on the initiative, sending it back towards First Killer. Sent on its way onto the backboard. Astromic again onto the right wall. Chance for First Killer to shoot, but Lost saving that one and continuing on the counter attack.
Astromic's going to come in. Lost is to his right, but will he try and pick him out? Suddenly there's less than a minute left. This first game is absolutely flown by, and we're in a position where a goal here would be absolutely massive for either team. Astromic gets a decent touch. He gets a flip reset as well. Won't be able to follow this one, but KV1 will. A second touch is huge. Astromic, riding the flip reset earlier, finds himself in the right position.
The top left is left completely unblocked as AJ, typical First Killer, all fancy a bite of that cherry. Astromic to swipe across the net and let that red dragon out of its cage.
Lovely to see Lost. That double tap, absolutely huge there. It was KV1, Astromic now. It's decent kickoff for FaZe Clan though. First Killer, he's got boost, he's got a double tap. He can't quite get that one on target. He can, but it's just over. Another shot follows up. Lost is there against AJ. Typical slows it down. I love that split second of composure.
Great idea from Typical. He knew that the club had to dive at that ball. They've both gone as well. He just has to slow it there, let Lost and Astromic take gravity right to the ground, and then he can send it above the gap where they have opened it up. 26 seconds left. Game number 1, we've already seen it 2 goals apiece.
The last kickoff was good for FaZe Clan, but that one has been lost by the club on purpose, and now here is Lost in the air with some boost, but he's met by First Killer. Good following touch from KV1. It's blocked down. Astromic would love to get a clean touch here. And now, how good is his dunk game? Quite there. AJ has a bit of control, but the club continue to attack so very quickly, not letting FaZe Clan have a split second on the ball. Astromic, he goes for the shot. First Killer will be able to get that one away. We're now at 0 seconds territory. Will it be overtime or last second dramatics? It will be overtime to open the day and open the series.
FaZe and the club wanting to start this game off strong in the series. They need it to go their way because FaZe, they're wanting to prove that they are better than just that third, fourth spot, but Lost. My word. This entire competition, the wildcard experience this team has had, is doing them absolute wonders. Chance again, AJ, the saviour of the series thus far.
Oh, lovely pass though there towards Lost. Typical was aware. Astromic will keep the attack going, will he, unless First Killer can beat him. It's a clearance, but all it is a boom back, which the club will just use to attack straight back. He's Lost. Touch into the centre. Good touch as well. They're going high. They're trying to use the most of FaZe Clan's boost reserves.
Oh.
They've left it all. Now First Killer can go forwards. Definitely the club with the boost advantage at the moment.
AJ going high with that ball, though, wanting to try and starve out that boost where he can. Potentially inadvisable, but Lost missing that ball. Pinched onto the left-hand side. Lost can follow, but not before AJ fancies another touch on that ball, Astromic onto the ceiling. Self-pass potentially until it is shut down by Typical. Technically a save, a generous one, but still the defense staying strong. Lost, though, an opportunity blocked again by FaZe.
FaZe Clan playing this counter-attacking game right now, allowing the club to come deep into their territory. And the attacks that the Roldis and his team have been working on. Will it pay dividends? Had to work hard to even get it to overtime. Typical can win it, but Lost and Astromic. It was Lost that got the save. Astromic, does he have enough boost to clear this one away? He does. AJ had to scamper back. He just about did. The club coming forward again.
I love that positioning from AJ. Going back into the own half, knowing that a long shot can come in. If that gets intercepted, that goal is coming. Brilliant block from him.
AJ slows it down. Brilliant play from AJ. Had no boost there. Knew that he would just be challenged had he cleared the ball. And that would have allowed the club to come back. So just bought a few seconds for his team. Now they have the boost. Now they can use it. The redirect is from that place. Typical onto the back. When he gets it from it, the in-and-out save. Clears it again.
The man with the experience showing up when he is needed. The in-and-out save is vital. Pitched along again. As Typical sitting back, goes to the self-pass with 100 boost. He can do a lot of damage here, but instead just passed it over to Astromic. 2 minutes in the overtime. A lot of mixed-up pressure. Neither team really having a massive advantage, so far.
Yeah, FaZe Clan are just starting to get a little bit more of the ball now, which will be worrying for the club. Can they make the most of it? First Killer trying to do his best Justin impression from his first goal in the series yesterday. An absolute beauty. He puts that one on target. It's completely open. Where's the FaZe Clan defense gone? The club take game 1.
After so much praise through this first game, just no defender back. AJ was removed from the pitch.
Lost
Forced back in. That demo, getting the club game number 1. Brilliant, brilliant movement from them.
Lovely to see Astromic at the front of his two teammates there. You know, the man who, as I was saying earlier, has been moving back and back in the pitch. Now he's getting the flip reset. He got that opening goal for his team. He really made it so the pressure was off them. When they take that lead, they start to believe. And the overtime, I mean, I love seeing players play in front of the ball, going for those demos. And FaZe Clan, they didn't have an answer. It happened so quickly where suddenly their defense has just completely disappeared. The club with a deserved game one.
But I love the defense for most of that game, and that's what makes it so frustrating. We saw where AJ was moving time and time again, where it was slowed down on certain shots when it was coming in, and there was a lot of intelligence that was praised from AJ earlier on in the day. And yet, at the end, where it mattered, they just were in the wrong place, wrong time, lost taking full advantage. The club 1-0 in the series so far.
But you talk about taking full advantage, and it is the club who had to run the gauntlet in the Swiss.
Yep.
All 5 series they went to, ended up beating 0-1 Esports 4-1 in the end. And I think that was the expected result by that point. At the beginning, we wouldn't really have been able to make a decent claim for either of them because neither had made it to majors as the trio that they are. But now we're seeing the club, they're just starting to pull away from some of these other teams, and it's from that experience that they had in the Swiss.
Yeah, the experience from that wildcard, we were all kind of theorizing as to what that could lend for these teams. They've already been on this stage. They've played 5 series on this stage. The only issue is they are yet to beat North America, as we said, and they're coming up against the second best team in North America, only beaten out by G2 in the point standings. The club, they want to just try and secure their place alongside Furia as one of the best teams in the region.
I mean, apart from London, FaZe Clan have been remarkably consistent at that semi-final stage. It even became a little bit of a meme that they would finish 4th, they would finish 3rd. They did get their regional victory in spring, but of course they want to do it on this big stage. And that consistency, though, is where they'll be able to look to in a series like this, which is tough. You know, they don't really go out before the last 10 in a tournament.
Yeah.
So surely they'll be thinking, against the club, we will ramp up, we will get better, and we will win.
Yeah, spring, if people have only seen them in that, they might think, oh, okay, they're a 9th to 12th team. No, that was 100% an anomaly. They were not playing well. They did not manage to figure out what it was that they needed to do. And I'm sure that those replays have been scoured hard by Rollbiz, their brand new coach, being able to work out of those issues. So, FaZe Clan, we're hoping that they're going to be able to return to their literally every other event performance.
Well, that one's going to go over the top of Typical. Maybe one just flicks it up towards Lost. Lost going to get the second touch against AJ. He can, well, it goes underneath him. No touch is required. Now First Kill is in a slightly difficult position. Lost almost gets in his teammate's way, but the communication was good, and the club have an attack to play with.
And a lot of boost being burned, my issue there for club. It didn't really go anywhere. He just sort of stayed in that corner, 2 players committing. Again, another miss, KV1 only on 4 boost, and now they're down to 20 between all of them on 0 for a second there. And now FaZe Clan can continue and with this counter-attack.
Yeah, FaZe Clan just had to wait for the club attack to run out of steam, and they did so well. So they're not looking shaky. FaZe Clan can do that, especially defensively. They can rush into things and leave themselves completely isolated in defense. We're not seeing any signs of that. Every goal the club's working for. Oh. Demo in the last game, that one's a good save from the side for FaZe Clan. Club's starting to warm up.
Good chance for a pass to come in central there again, but the club low on boost. They're burning through a lot of it with not much effect. Shot top corner, saved away by Astromic that time, but FaZe Clan, will they continue a big press themselves?
Astromic is really up for this one. In that first game, you know, as I was saying, he was playing as their furthest player forward at times, but it's been a while. Here he's pre-jumping, really trying to put the pressure on FaZe Clan when they're attacking. Here he is again, every touch he's making is super clean. Look at the speed from Astromic, setting up KV1, getting this flip reset over the top. He gets a second touch as well. Brilliance from the club, 2 of them involved.
KV1, the killer! Receiving it in the midfield and onto that flip reset. He had near 0 boost, ends it with 0, but tipping it over the top and below the crossbar, that is just what KV1 does.
Oh, that is a stunning, stunning goal. The fact that the pass came across, KV1 knew exactly what to do, but it comes from the spearhead of the attack in this series, at least in Astromic. Astromic's underneath this one, he's going to go for it. No, he rotates out, has no boost, and now FaZe Clan can come forward. Lost. He's going to get it past First Killer. He's barely been involved in this game, First Killer. Needs the ball. Astromic's getting over the top of AJ again. Typical was there.
First Killer is always the man that I look to change what the fate of FaZe Clan is going to be, because I just don't really expect the others to have those issues. You know, I always kind of think that AJ and Typical are able to get a couple of those chances, but when First Killer plays selflessly, that is when FaZe Clan do their best work, where he passes, where he goes through bumps and demos, where he does not need to be the man at the front. That is where FaZe Clan thrive.
Typical's going to get that one over the top. get it into the corner and really put an attack on. First killer there, he's following it up. Pick reset, no, it's the edgeable instead. Stromic, yet again. What a performance from him so far, from their leader.
I mean, the defense from the club has been stunning throughout this entire competition. They are one of the statistical leaders in the defensive region. FaZe Clan, they are one of the leaders in the offensive region. This should have gone the way potentially of SSG Dignitas, where the offense beats the defense. However, seeming potentially, you know, it's a bit more the other way of the defense winning out. That ball going nice and low for Typical. Chances starting to apparate for FaZe.
Yeah, they're appearing there. First killer is really trying to drive the stake in, but still the club managed to escape. These edgeables, their best way out of their own half right now. Stromic just waits, bides his time, actually allows first killer in. Has to stand tall now for the challenge. 1 minute left. FaZe Clan really starting to turn the screw. One touch is all they need, and eventually they break through.
Fantastic fake from Step here. From AJ rather, leaves it for Typical, just bows away from that ball. Lets it fly past, and the FaZe Clan again with an equalizer towards the end of the game. They need to ramp it up earlier on if they want to stay consistent.
Last time there was a late goal, FaZe Clan then scored from the resulting kickoff, and they've won this one again. Typical has boost. He's charging forward. The club have to stand up so tall. That challenge in the air is going to fall to a Stromic, who clears it long.
FaZe Clan yet to score first. The club taking that lead both times in the game. The shot again! KV1 with the double.
KV1 his second goal of the game. The first was brilliance to mechanics. The second one, hit it hard, hit it accurately, get it past those FaZe Clan defenders, give your team the lead in game 2. Wow. What a performance this has been so far from the club. Everything they would have wanted coming into this series, everything they've learned so far. But they have to survive from the kickoff. Again, it's won by FaZe Clan. Again, it goes to Typical. They need to keep an eye on this, the club, because they're losing every single one, and FaZe Clan will score from it, as they showed in the last game.
Holding on for the last 30 seconds. Stromic has to work his way down this left-hand wing. Typical lands awkwardly and so can't go to the sky for it. KV1 to shoot on target, but held handily by first killer on that goal line. Fakes out one, dribbles round the next with 50 boost. He can whip it wide. Will the three play come off? It is first killer. Of course it does.
How do you defend against this? You're watching and you're trying to keep an eye on which way is juking, which way is going, and then you get slammed into in your own goal by AJ. FaZe Clan, the kings of the late comeback. They've done this time and time again throughout the season. You can never count them out, especially on the big stage.
First killer is so clutch when he needs to be. And again, the chance where they're just able to rely on him. He is so vital to this team's success. Stromic though, flicking high. It's difficult, it's able to clear this in the defense onto the ceiling, but nobody able to challenge him. Waiting to see where this ball comes from. First killer, brilliant yet again. Typical calling him onto that ball. They can get it to the ground, and another overtime.
Yeah, the second in a row. The first one lasted 3 minutes or so. Let's see if this one is as long. Once again, though, the kickoff won by FaZe Clan. It just continues to happen. But the club have done well. There's almost a fake there from KV1. In follows lost. It's another huge finish. The club, right now, are winning the overtimes.
Aquadome is theirs. KV1 faking out, showing that he can do it just as well as AJ can, and to the same effect. 2-0 for the club over FaZe Clan, a team that are yet to beat anybody in North America.
Wow, the club. Wow, the club, the crowd. Their fans here are starting to believe in them. There was a huge cheer for Stromic before it started. That finish there. Just smashing it home. Now, Stumpy, you and I,
hello.
We always talk about a little something, I believe a term that we've coined, winner's tilt.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that right here.
Winner's tilt is the phenomenon where you will be winning a series after playing incredibly well, and then you just end up getting in your own head thinking, okay, now we need to be more defensive or we need to be more offensive. You change your game style to win the upcoming games. But that is the issue in of itself. That is when the other team can come in, maybe their playstyle is then more dominant, you win, and then you don't do as well afterwards. And we can confirm that after going 2-0 down, FaZe Clan have called today's first overtime.
Yeah,
overtime? Timeout.
The first overtime, yeah, no, it'll be today's
second overtime.
Third overtime. But yeah, no, it's an intriguing time in this series because both games have been won by the club, of course, but they were both overtimes. So is the FaZe Clan game plan not working? Or is it just, you know, bad luck of the draw in these OTs?
And other questions Roldis will be asking himself and of his players. This is where he earns his money. This is where he proves his level as a coach. He has to talk them out of the rut that FaZe Clan have found themselves in, either reminding them of what happened in spring or keeping their heads clear away from that, whichever will motivate them. He will know what that is. And a lot of support coming from the crowd, wanting their teams to do well. I love hearing the rivalry going on too.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe Clan as ever, they're looking calm. They're trying to stay as relaxed as possible up on that stage, you know. Often they can be players that aren't up there, they're not screaming, they're not huge fist bumps. It's just, nice shot, good play. You just scored a weldy. Good job, mate. You know, they need to keep that composure right here. I feel like the club, they're a team that they need to try and ride the wave a bit more because, you know, as soon as they start to defend and think, oh, goodness me, we might actually be about to win this series, if they do start doing that, Astromik in particular is a player that's really stood out to me as closing them down quickly, something that we've seen from Lost throughout the final split and throughout the Swiss there. He was the one who was chasing. I really hope that Astromik continues to do so and doesn't step back and try to be that third man again because I think they're shocking FaZe Clan. I think they're surprising them, and I think FaZe Clan weren't expecting them to be this aggressive against them. I think FaZe Clan were expecting them to pay them more respect, perhaps, and I think they were also expecting them to be just that little bit slower. The club, you're not going to be slow. FaZe Clan have to up their speed, they have to up their mechanics, and I feel like they just need a couple of goals, even if they're bad goals, just something to give them a bit of momentum.
But when will teams start to respect South American Rocket League teams? This happens time and time again. They don't necessarily realize what they are capable of. And yet, the club have gone 2-0 up versus FaZe on our first series of the day. You need to give them the credence that they are wrestling from your hands.
FaZe Clan come into this one after a tactical timeout, and they are normally won by the team that takes them over half throughout the season, but at this World Championship, 6 of 8 have been lost by the tactical timeouters, and that was almost lost. Who got the early goal again for the club. They've started this game better, trying to make the most of that FaZe Clan attack, maybe a more counter-attacking style from the club.
Love seeing a demo come in, a couple of bums wanting to remove FaZe Clan. When they tilt, or when you start to tilt a team, it can go hard. An air drill bump attempt coming in as well. The 1, 2, 3, it is devastation.
They are so fast-paced in attack. Look, Lost is there, and they are steaming forward. KV1 is just tracking this ball completely, and Astromik, he's there as well. The 1, 2, 3 from the club, the lead from the club in this third game.
Charging like a trident, and FaZe Clan are drowning under that pressure.
Astromik has lost the kickoff again to FaZe Clan. They keep winning this one. The club have to deal with this because you cannot give First Killer 100 boost and allow him to just air dribble over the top of you. He will break through your defenses at some point. So far, apart from that first game, as that massive pinch comes in, they've been able to deal with the resulting pressure most times, but it's really, to me, something they have to change.
I mentioned earlier on that First Killer is always the guy that I look at. He's always the one where I think if change is going to come out of FaZe Clan, it has to come via him. I wonder if that is what they've decided as a team as well. First, you know, either you need to be past the ball more, or even you need to be off the ball more. Just something to make him a more unique player in what is otherwise a very messy and very confused-looking FaZe.
Yeah, they're sort of challenge heavy at the moment, but you do want to see First Killer just do what he did right there on that wall as two club players just start to tread on each other's toes. You stay a little bit calm. For all our talk about not turtling up, you also have to make sure you don't get carried away in attack. Wow, Lost is just dancing through them in slow motion almost. FaZe Clan players flinging themselves around everywhere. They do manage to clear it, but the club have decent boost levels and should be able to defend.
The club so far taking a little bit longer to get their second goal, but they did incredibly well in that second game to just hold on to the game for a little while until the final minute. There's still 2 more before we get to that point. KV1 can go low with that ball. He has been impressing everybody with his 1v1s whenever Johnny Boy has been doing any of his streams. He's beaten out Jorias. He has been grinding every single day we've seen him here.
Yeah, the question has always been for him, can he translate into threes? But we're seeing he can here. More FaZe Clan pressure comes on. They're just going for these solo plays. Maybe you want to see some more passes from FaZe Clan. AJ, the ball's going to fall for him. Does he go for the quick shot? Again, he's trying to tee himself up. It does fall to typical. AJ's there.
Like it.
And the passing play is what breaks the club down.
An incredibly unusual touch here. AJ going so far in the corner that Astromik Lost and KV1 all think, oh my god, wait, we have to go on that. We weren't expecting it. That then leaves it open for Typical to pass and AJ to be in the sense to receive the ball in the end. I adore that play from FaZe.
I think First Killer, I was watching his player come after that goal went in, and he just sort of set up. It looked like that was the beginning of something for FaZe Clan, based just on their body language. Will it come to fruition on the pitch? Typical's touch is a little bit heavy. Astromik just boots it away. AJ again, a lovely pass. FaZe Clan definitely trying to find each other now after a tricky start going solo.
Chance for Lost to get that ball central, but AJ instead is the one to be picking it up. First Killer, passing to us, Typical in the blind spot. FaZe Clan with the lead.
I don't know about you guys, but I had no idea that Typical was there. I was just about to say, Strong will be able to get it. And then there he is. It's old school redirect vibes. There's a lot on the pitch right there. 2-1 FaZe Clan. It seemed like the start of something, and it's continuing to look that way.
That is very good ingenuity from FaZe. Something different, something new. That's what they need. Otherwise, the side in blue is going to be the victor.
Everyone is charged down by First Killer there. First Killer just waits, tries to get it to his teammates as he always flashed across the face of goal. Agonizing there for FaZe, so near to the third goal. Looking more like themselves now. That demo could open things up though from Lost on Typical. First Killer's in his own goal, has to be careful. He gets it down towards Typical. The transition from FaZe, much improved right now, but Lost has got the mechanics. He's been their MVP this entire split. Can't forget the double tap. KV1's coming in. AJ almost bounced that one towards his own goal.
Astromic as well on the floor underneath KV1. A double commit, if that went past him, that was going to be a goal. It would have been 2 for the club to chase, but instead they keep it at just a 1-goal deficit, wanting to finish that below the attacking player, the club, trailing. A rare moment for them to be trailing.
There's a really interesting shape to this game right now. FaZe Clan focusing on those passes, as in the club are focusing more on demos and bumps, trying to get them out of the passing lanes. Will it work for them? First Killer solo again. He's so dangerous in these positions. Allows AJ in. That's a good read though from Astromic, I think it was. And now Lost can take it forward. Has 2 FaZe Clan players, both retreating to goal in front of him. Wants to bump First Killer out the air again. The club are really trying to spot those flies.
Lost onto the ceiling, and again another touch. AJ is able to block it away, and Typical the one to pick it up. With 50 seconds, First Killer booms it down the right-hand side of the pitch, and is then stomped on, is not able to go up for that aerial. Turns that around with Lost and KV1 hanging out together. Goes low, the bump from Astromic, the second touch. But First Killer can intercept. We approach 30 seconds, and FaZe Clan, in the current trajectory, will be taking the game.
Yeah, but it's nervy, it's so scary. We have had late equalizers from FaZe Clan in both games. Where was AJ? A bit too far back, the backboard again. The boost is starved, the misses are coming in. Lost is free jumping, it's not gonna happen. Typical doubles FaZe Clan's lead. It's 3-1 with not much time left.
A suffocating Typical draws that bag over the head of the club, and 2 goals now separating the sides. Lost, he just had to jump and pray, but his God was not there for him this time. 23 seconds, FaZe Clan with a 2-goal lead.
Especially as the kickoffs have been going FaZe Clan's way, you would expect them to be able to see this one away, but that was a win for the club. Astromic is there and he's got boost as well. Can he pinch it in? Oh, we just had to get some height and it could have been.
Potential chance there to get that near equaliser. A couple of bumps coming in as well on First Killer. FaZe looking a little bit rattled in their net, but holding incredibly strong. And game number 3 will be going their way. No 4th goal, but the game win is all they were after.
They really changed everything about themselves, FaZe Clan, after going behind in that game. And it worked for them incredibly well. They looked more like the FaZe Clan we have come to expect. First Killer was getting so many touches of the ball. You can see his multiple versions of his face there in the crowd. Love that. Those are some high-quality printouts.
We got FaZe Clan.
Yeah.
I think that was FaZe Clan.
Nice. That's good there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, FaZe Clan, the passing play is working for them. And First Killer, he does seem to be waking up.
Yeah, he does. And I can't keep harping on about him, but he is one of the greatest players North America has ever seen. There are some moments where you look and you think, there's more that you can be doing. And I think that that is something that maybe inspires him, where he thinks to himself, you know what, I can either be that first guy.
Look at the reaction from the crowd. Lots of shocked gasps. And I can tell you, my friends, my reaction was exactly the same. Hand to the mouth. Where does Typical come from? What was he doing there? And that's the FaZe Clan effect. You know, they do things that other teams wouldn't expect. They do things that other teams wouldn't even dream about. Most players would be rotating right back there, trying to keep the pressure on and getting boost. But FaZe are always searching desperately for that next goal.
I love to see First Killer without a goal as well. He has the assists, he has the saves, he has the shots, but no goal to me implies that he has taken the assistive role on his shoulders. And when he does that, FaZe Clan look terrifying. They win that game in our first non-overtime, and it's a huge statement for FaZe to come out after their timeout too.
They come into Utopia with a lot of momentum behind them, and now suddenly it's all eyes on the club. Can you change that? Because lots of teams in North America as well, they struggle to deal with FaZe Clan when they do get that little bit of belief behind them. Typical's there closing it down, but a huge challenge from Lost will go just wide. Can they make anything from this resultant attack?
A lot of power on that shot coming from KV1. With AJ getting the save, the FaZe Clan counter-attack can continue. It's Typical. up nearly for that triple, but instead it just pinches from the crossbar down on the ground and straight back out again.
So near so far for FaZe Clan for taking the lead. But I believe the first time in the series, as Astromic pinches it long, huge clearances from the club. Seems to be the order of the day. Will they be able to slow it down? That's a great first touch from KV1, the 1v1er. His flick isn't the best, and he tries to take out First Killer, doesn't manage to do it. So First Killer can help out Typical. First Killer and Typical can get this ball into the corner, then First Killer can follow through. First Killer, First Killer, First Killer. Everywhere on the pitch right now for FaZe Clan. Here he is again, coming from the side, desperate for the ball. This guy as he goes, but he has lost it to Lost. First touch. I think some lovely first touches in this game.
Yeah, brilliant first touch from Typical, but with no boost, he just gets challenged and it falls into AJ. The back left corner, the mid boost is beckoning for him, but instead it's picked up by his teammate. Typical now using that 100 boost he just stole from AJ. Fakes out being low and continues on. It's Typical. We've been wanting a lot from him for quite a long time, and it looks to me like he is really starting to find that gear.
KV1 wants to charge down Typical here, gets the good read as well. Good effort, but the ball's just going to drift towards the center where FaZe Clan will launch another attack. So there, good first touch. Does he have the dodge? He does. It's almost underneath the Astromic. FaZe Clan starting to look like the better team here. First Killer closes it down again, gets the extra touch. That extra touch is all they need to give FaZe the lead.
First Killer, the man on the sideline, knows when that ball has to go. Feed AJ and you will succeed. That movement as well, he just glided on the back wall, then jumps out immediately to pass it. No second thoughts, he knows where his teammate was. And this symbiotic relationship is paying dividends until the hive mind breaks down.
Let's just see what happened right here. Typical just missed dodges. Interesting, very interesting. There's looks around.
I think that was from that. I believe that was an attempt on a fake kickoff.
Yeah.
Or there was an issue from Typical. He turns away. We're going to try and resolve this issue as soon as we can. Let's make sure that everyone is nice and happy, but I really tried to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Fake kickoff question mark? No. Sometimes just the tech issues do happen, so we're going to figure that one out. But I really like seeing this level of FaZe Clan right now where they have the passes, they have these attacks, they're trying to make something from every single position they find themselves in. And it all, as ever, on FaZe Clan, boils back down to FK.
I mean, they said in the interview, AJ said in his pre-match interview, they are feeling as happy as they've ever felt. Certainly coming into this one with confidence, as you would expect from FaZe Clan, that's usual for them. But now in this series, they're starting to show how that confidence can actually change things after struggling at the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
You know, you lose 2 overtimes, it can be so tempting to lose your head. It can happen. It has happened throughout to various different teams. FaZe Clan have done really well, and that'll be Rollers in their ears helping as well, to not fall into that trap. Now they have to finish the job. I mean, we're still not sure if that goal will count. If there's a tech error, maybe it will be removed, but that's up to our lovely admins to see. And it's just like, where does the club go from here, especially if that goal doesn't count for them, because that would have given them such a hype.
We have a FaZe fan in the audience saying FaZe up. A lot of the FaZe hand signals that we're seeing, flashing the lovely black and red kit that they have got over on FaZe Clan. A lot of FaZe Clan hand signals in the crowd too.
Yeah.
Clearly the home favourite, but the club, I don't think they're going to be caring about that too much. They want to get, as I keep saying, their first North American dub.
Just to keep everybody in the loop, the admins are currently reviewing the footage to see whether the goal should stand. So it's a tense time right now on the stage. And of course, this brings with it its own set of question marks, because these things happen. You know, this is esports. They are ultimately playing on computers. It's binary. You know, things are going to go slightly wrong, and you have to be able to deal with that one on a human level. Whether the goal is given, whether the goal isn't given, how do you then play for the next 3 minutes and 7 seconds of this match? It's a long time, even if you aren't going into it equal at 1-1. So the coaches become so very important. The players' natural composure and their dynamic, you know, who's leading the charge, who's stay calm, who's hyping people up, all of that now becomes a huge factor.
You can also treat this as a bit of a free time out.
Yeah.
You know, and the only issue is you don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know, okay, is this a 20-second fix? Is this a 2, 3, 4-minute fix? And those conversations have to be had where you keep yourselves warm. You are still ultimately in the game. You cannot free play from this point. You're in the game, you're waiting. There's no keeping warm that you can do, just trying to figure out what is going on in this game right now. But yeah, these conversations are something that, you know, I think we need to be considering when looking at these moments. The game's coming up today, bear in mind, it's not the only one. We are in Group B. We've got FaZe Clan versus the club right now. Coming up later, we've got Falcons versus Dignitas. G2 versus Optic. And to see some European representation, Furia versus Carmine Corp. I've seen a lot of fans from all of those teams all around the arena today. A lot of Carmine Corp fans especially, and a couple of green wall signs, which I've liked seeing, so a lot of fanatics coming through.
Yeah, I mean, we also had a guy in the crowd who was having a whiff counter. Not sure how accurate that thing is.
Does that count for us if we misspeak?
Oh, goodness. But I mean, there were quite a lot of tallies on there, so
yeah.
I think it may well do, which is worrying. We'll have a look at that later and see if it's actually being updated.
Cross them out.
I think you made a really good point about how the club in particular can treat this as a free timeout. It's an odd balance because they're the ones who want the break. FaZe Clan are the ones who will be happy that the goal might not be given. So the club can just use this time. Look, yeah, drink a
Smiling.
tea or coffee. English tea, maybe. Good cup of milky tea.
I thought you said just a cup of milk. What an insane thing to drink during a competition.
That would be odd.
But yeah, look, they're clearly laughing, they're smiling, they're making sure that everyone is happy, they're keeping the vibes up because that is so important mentally. Roll Diz has 2 hands on those headphones. They do just stay on your head, mate. You don't need to hold them the entire time. You're fine. Don't worry.
Hasn't quite learned that one yet. But yeah, I feel like AJ, it's nice to see him getting so involved in the scoring as well, because he is a player whose head can drop slightly, especially when he's surrounded by Typical and First Killer. Such brilliance on the pitch that he shares that when his mechanics start to go and his confidence starts to go, he can just slow down a little bit. So the more times you see goals next to him on the scoreboard, that tends to me to be when FaZe Clan are playing well. And I have loved, as you mentioned, Stumpy, seeing First Killer get so many assists.
Brilliant.
Because his mechanics are capable of breaking down defenses, but that's not always in the sense of scoring a goal. It can just be getting it over the top of one more player. The assist that you got earlier on in this game was an absolute beaut, might I add. That just extra little touch, dodging into the ball faster than anybody from the club expected him to be able to do. And there was AJ. The comms are good for FaZe Clan, the vibes are good for FaZe Clan, but so too, the same for the club.
When you were talking about FaZe Clan a second ago with Typical as well, we have seen a lot of moments from him where we question his ability and the level that he can really reach to meet First Killer and also AJ, where FaZe, they're meant to be the North American super team. These are the 3 theoretical best players in the region who are going to be able to out-mechanic any situation that they find themselves in. I don't believe we've really ever seen that, personally. I think that there's been moments that are close. I don't think we have ever seen FaZe Clan get to 100%. There's always been something holding them back, whether they're all trying to be the first man, which I always harp on them about, whether they just have a couple of off-mechanic days. I truly believe we have never seen them at their full potential, and that's why we've only seen them get to 3rd or 4th at their best. On average, their placement is 4th overall across the entire season so far. All regionals, including their spring major, big old meltdown that they fancied having. 4th.
Yeah.
This is a team better than 4th, and they know that very, very accurately.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, you talk about how we've never seen the 100% FaZe Clan playing at the complete best of their ability, and this team dynamic may well be that. Having First Killer as the enabler just brings his teammates into it so much more. I'm not getting any sense right now that these players are all going to charge at the same ball. There was one what I thought was an overcommit in game number 1. I think it was in the overtime, and it turns out that Lost had been getting up a vacuum cleaner, sweeping them all up with some demos to make sure that they weren't able to defend. So I was actually a bit unfair on FaZe Clan at that point. They have shown real balance to their squad, especially when they're 2 games down, and that's when you start to want to charge at the ball, to take everything solo, to get yourself involved in the game as much as possible. FaZe Clan avoiding all of this is everything.
Yeah. The club have had a lot more time to think in this series than I think they thought they would have done. They got a sudden goal off kickoff. They don't quite know what was happening. They're just being fed the information live, just as we are. It looks like we're going to be getting back into the game, hopefully relatively soon. They're just reviewing what should be happening with that goal. But otherwise, it is the club who have had a good bit of time to think, a while to ruminate on their thoughts.
So we do have the decision. The goal will not stand. Typical's controller is adjudged to have been disconnected for that kickoff. It'll be 1-0 FaZe Clan with 3 minutes and 9 seconds left. I repeat, it'll be 1-0 FaZe Clan, 3:09 left on the board when we get back in. And I think that's completely fair. Clearly, the way Typical played that, something DC'd. We play on. We've just had that lovely First Killer touch. AJ prodded it home. It's 1-0 FaZe Clan. Woo! And now we can almost...
Oh, that woo was so convincing. That was awesome.
Are you convinced?
I'm so hyped for this now.
Nice.
I've been hyped the entire time. 3 minutes 9, and it's, you know, after the club having that amount of time where they can think, they can really figure out what it was they need to do, it really can go one of two ways on that. Either they've got in their own heads, they think, oh my gosh, we are 2-1 up against FaZe Clan, oh my gosh, maybe we can do this. Or they're thinking, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Like, we knew that we could get here. We knew that we can do that. We can now just refine how we did well in those first 2 games, because ultimately they let one slip. They now need to charge down on this kickoff as confident as they were after those first 2.
I think, yeah, as I was saying earlier, the fact that FaZe didn't want this timeout when they have been having so much momentum, and the club can use the timeout to sort of regain themselves, have it as a free timeout, as you say, but they've lost their goal. It's actually one of the more balanced admin pauses that we've had. Both teams will have reason to be frustrated and reason to be happy. We are so close to getting back into this one. We are currently watching the RLCS referee just create the lobby, so it shouldn't be too much longer now as we get back into it very, very soon.
So FaZe that entire time would have been talking about the goal and trying to figure out what it was that they were going to be doing going forwards. My question is, you know, obviously the club, they weren't doing that. They were only talking about their game, their series, how their game plan should be going forwards. With FaZe, I think that's actually a bit, that's a negative thing that has happened. Because now they have to go into this game having only spoken about a goal that now will not stand, whereas the club have had that timeout. This competition, that happens, and FaZe Clan, they need to work around it as we restart game number 4 at 3 minutes 9.
Was AJ using that beautiful Octane decal the whole time? I'll ask in a second once Typical gets his split reset, and it's just about saved by the club. I've got a feeling he's changed it to a flowery little number. Looks very beautiful there on the orange side.
That's a good idea for them to just, you know, maybe get a couple of those little resets in. Treat it as a bit of a new game, but they do have this lead. We're already at half-time. This game gone quicker than ever. Typical punting that one mid, but KV1 just about avoiding the bump from Typical as well. Lost to send down the left wing. First killer manages to work around Lost on the pre-flip. Touched high from Astromic. And on this kickoff, on the restart, it has just been FaZe Clan pressure.
Yeah, but now Astromic has the ball and he can charge down First Killer, who gets a perfect challenge. Not the second though, KV1 wins, but AJ follows him through, and now AJ has a chance to go solo himself. No, he doesn't, he passes instead to First Killer, who was there. Typical's arriving, surely it's 2-0. But Astromic, where's he come from?
Again with the in and out save, he's had a couple of clutch ones on that, but KV1 isn't able to form it into a counter. Lost going central with it, but not too much happening. First Killer wanting to redirect, but sees that Astromic is there. Touches it just past him, again in the club blind spot.
KV1 up against Typical. Typical wants to get it underneath him, but KV1 won't allow that to happen. Then Lost almost beats AJ cleanly. AJ got half a touch, which meant the ball just ballooned towards First Killer, and that time AJ does win it cleanly.
Good fake.
Lovely fake there from KV1 to get to Lost.
Yeah, I love that idea. Just going down with the ball, knowing that otherwise that was going into the ceiling. The FaZe Clan push could have continued, but instead, KV1 taking the full control of the ball on the ground, a lot safer, and a lot of improv happening on that side.
Lost trying to cause some havoc in FaZe Clan's corner. Gets the extra touch again from KV1. Just get over the ball to put it down, not quite. But a good sign there for the club. Unbelievably, as you mentioned, Stumpy, this game going so quickly now. They are running out of time. This First Killer almost gets a second double tap. Astromic has slowed down a little bit. He is looking more like the traditional third man for the club. That means that we need to see more from Lost, the MVP. KV1 into the center. Lost is there, and he can get the ball.
Just had enough boost, keeps 6 in the tank. Now KV1 working out of that back corner as well with First Killer on the left wing. Gets the flip reset, goes low versus Astromic. 40 seconds remaining. It really does just feel that there's a lot of pressure coming in from FaZe and not much on the side of the club. So Astromic takes it in his hands. One charge down the pitch, but as ever, he just falls back to First Killer.
FaZe has had all the boost at the moment. The club can barely get hold of any. AJ to the ceiling, wants to go up against Lost. I mean, it's falling, but look how clean the win is there for Typical. Lost, a really important touch. Astromic, oh, the ball just didn't quite fall for him, but the counter can begin anyway.
Chance for Lost to go high on that, but First Killer to the backboard, can get it long. 100 boost grabbed for Lost. Astromic taking one touch, sees KV1 central. KV1 does get a touch, punts it wide. AJ unable to get that one. Instead opens it for First Killer. Astromic sees KV1 on the right-hand side. A demo comes in. Typical, no longer present. Faking out.
Oh.
The idea was there, but the pace was not. FaZe Clan level up the series 2-2.
Slight gamble at the end there. He thought the game would bounce, or the ball would bounce, and the game would continue in 0 second time. But unfortunately for the club, the time just ticked to 0 seconds just before that ball hit the floor, and FaZe Clan can breathe a massive sigh of relief. They thought they conceded an equalizer. It wasn't to be, and now they have equalized the series. They have the momentum, and they have overall the better mechanics as well. FaZe Clan surely at this point huge favorites in this series.
Huge, I think, is big. I think they were the favorites coming in. The club did a fantastic job in the first couple of games to be able to, you know, secure them that win ultimately, the couple of wins rather. But I still feel like FaZe Clan, there's more that we can see. There's still messy rotations every now and then. They're winning 1-0, they're winning 3-1 was the biggest win we've seen so far. I always am wary to be hard on FaZe Clan. The only reason I am is because of what they can achieve. And I want them desperately to get to that level. I know that they can get to that level. I know they know. I know everybody in the world knows that they can get to that level. They just need to be able to find their stride. I am a big, big critic of this team. I love seeing it when it goes right, but I'm criticizing them when it goes wrong. We are starting to see it go very, very right for them. And the club, they need to get a handhold because they really are starting to slip.
Well, here's some hope for the club, Stumpy. Across the entirety of the 21-22 season, when a team has gone 2-0 up in a best of 7, they've won 90% of the time. So, statistically, the club now the favorites, but I guess now it's 2-all, not so much. Yeah, the club had a huge start to this series, but it was overtime victories. They had to grind them out and FaZe. Look how cleanly they're making these passes. This is the points that are so important for the club, making the most. They do have clean touches. They haven't done that, they've done the opposite. More defending to do. Lost just clears it long. And Astromech can get the next touch. Can he do something with it? He goes for the flip. First killer, what a save.
First with 100 boost, using it perfectly. Able to clear it away. And there was another fake coming in. We're seeing a lot of aerial fakes coming in for the club so far, where all of them want to just throw the towel over the opponent's head, keep it interesting, keep it different and strange, make it utterly unpredictable on the push.
Astromech is playing on the front foot again a lot more right now on Wasteland. Seems to have reverted to the start of the series that was working so well. Just to get involved. So KV want to be a little bit more defensive. Doesn't have any boost, not yet, he just gets some. Waits for AJ, wants to get it past him. Lovely recovery from KV1. You can really see he's the ones player in the team, the way he drifts around the pitch. His lands perfectly facing the ball. Now it's got a little bit even, and I think that's credit to the club. That's exactly what they need to do to get themselves back.
Good opportunity for Lost to try and just get something from AJ with a single defender back. You normally want to favour the attacker. It's a bit more fun to do it instead of favouring the defender. A fake again from KV1, and coming in was Lost for a pouncing shot. Astromech holding firm against two FaZe Clan pros.
Lost is going to come forward again. First killer's touch is weak. Lost can be there, but here's one. It's only as far as FaZe gets the next challenge. It's a good play from him in the end. And Astromech beats it. Can he get this next touch? What about that second hit right now from the club? They're getting the first ones. But then after it happens, they're allowing FaZe Clan in. First killer goes solo, wants to get the 4-pinch, doesn't. It falls to AJ. He's going to put this one away. Is he? Yes! Into the top right corner, past two club defenders. FaZe Clan have the lead.
The most highly trafficked part of that pitch was the top right. Where did AJ go? He can still squeeze it in. He is not bothered. Threads the needle precisely. FaZe Clan again with a 1-0 lead on nearly the exact same time they had previously in game number 4.
Lost should be able to get this boost, but first killer's first touch is brilliant. Who's following up next? Is so far back. Lost almost gets it over AJ, then he's taken out the game. KV1 is going. What's the big pass first? Oh, there was a massive fake. The club get back in it.
First killer puts his hands on his head and says, how do I read that? How do I deal with this? But he sees Lost there, sees it's going to be awkward. And you know what I love that I saw on the camera from FaZe Clan? Roldis comes in, pats him on the shoulder, says, no, you're good. That was just a great shot. What are you going to do? It's 2v1. If you defended it, you're a god.
Yeah.
Sometimes those gods do bleed, and FaZe Clan, they do concede a goal from the club, and those fakes are proving to be wonderful to watch.
Lost is just circling here. He needs to get out quick, because KV1's a little bit stuck back. It's happened quite a few times this game. I appreciate he's looking at the third man in the game, but we still want to see him getting forward. And they're lingering underneath. Typical charging it down. Typical has passes in the center, but Astromech nips in, gets it high. AJ's pass is weak. What can Lost do to take advantage of that?
Yeah, AJ realised it was weak and so could catch up with it. First get it on the ceiling, gets that flip back. Isn't able to do much with it though, and AJ waiting in the midfield. With Lost clearing towards the right wing. KV wants to go for an assault, but instead the ball just about runs past him. The mid boost falling to the club. 2 minutes left. Typical begins the push.
Lost needs to read Typical's touch here. Astromech helping him out, so the club having to do so much defending. FaZe Clan really turning it on now. KV1's touch is a nice one. First killer just waits. Everyone waits too, stands his ground, fights, then gets over the top of Typical. This is danger now for FaZe Clan. Club coming in, KV1 to the corner. Touch again, only as far as KV1 is. Lost going to be able to get in there in time. He almost does. Has a chance maybe to jump over the top, but not quite. Not quite threaded through to his Typical either. So many not quites in this passage of play for both teams. Will there be a finish at the end of it? It's Typical with the read. Lost wants to know if he should go in with no boost. He does in the end. I don't think he wanted to. Wanted his teammate coming in, but not to be again for the club.
Yeah, he desperately wanted to just not be the man on that play with no boost. He can't whip round, he can't do a power shot. All he can do is just trying to get the 50, but instead it was one out by first killer with yet more fantastic defense from him, with Lost going towards that left wing to try and find it back to Astromic. The mid boost he does pick up, but the ball he does relinquish.
I think this passage of play favours the club though. It could go either way. It's end-to-end stuff. Both teams looking stretched. Both teams unsure when to attack. Defending well, it must be said. First killer, he break through that defense. AJ's up. Will he be able to get a shot on target? He can, but Astromic, he knew exactly where AJ was putting that one. AJ going for the top corner and not quite having the same success this time. Lost gets the late dodge. Typical just sees it's a first killer. It is so tense on that pitch right now as Typical lobs another grenade forward.
Final 30 seconds and Lost wants to try and end this before overtime starts with one flip reset. Onto the second, the third is not available. First killer again on that backboard, making a home for himself up there with Astromic going towards the middle. Only Typical is there to receive. KV1 to bump, Lost to go into the skies. Two players on the backboard, this ball going high, along with every single member of FaZe Clan.
Astromic has Typical charging him down, has to dodge the dunk here and does. That's a huge clearance. He can chase it himself. Can he get the dunk on first killer? No, first killer's clearance is good, but it's going to end with clock pressure. Lost has a pass towards it. Can he follow up and get the angle? No, KV1 is in front of his teammate. The club's so close. The third overtime in the series comes now.
And not on the kickoff again!
No way.
KV1 had one goal disallowed. And Typical feeling devastated yet again. The club in 3 seconds, they take it to series point.
I don't even know what to say. After the kickoff problems we had earlier, will there be another admin call? I've got no idea. I'm watching and waiting for this one. The club, as it stands right now, took that win in overtime. It seems that there was just a mishap in defense in the kickoff from FaZe Clan. FaZe are calling for the admin, so if anyone was just about to breathe a sigh of relief, don't just yet.
The kickoff certainly not going in favor of FaZe Clan there. We're going to be figuring out what exactly went on with this goal. Thus far, looking like it's going to stand, but we want to make sure that the competitive integrity is obviously all up in check. And the fact it was KV1 again, that is going to be potentially the beneficiary of this. It was only him going for that ball. If that's not an error for FaZe Clan,
I'll have to wait and see.
Then that is one of the worst kickoffs I've ever seen in my life, to be completely honest. That is a giga throw, if I have ever seen one.
I feel like somewhere out there, Ronicky is watching this right now and praying that the goal is given so that people won't call him a Ronicky anymore. Yeah, precisely. I mean, yeah, it's a really intriguing time. It's difficult to know what to say here because we obviously do not know just yet, as you guys at home do not know just yet. As soon as we have any information, we will share it with you. Lots of discussions to be had, lots of debate between admins and players. Certainly an interesting point in this series.
What I do find interesting as well is whenever a goal goes in, I like to look at the player cams. I like to see how they react. I adore a good player cam. We're seeing a lot of animation out of FaZe generally, not just, you know, on those kickoffs where there are problems, but just like the fist bumps, they're smiling, they are talking to each other, they are laughing and being a proper team almost. Like they are doing a fantastic job to keep each other in this series and keeping themselves focused. And those player cams, when they go off, they really go off. And FaZe Clan are doing a fantastic job of it. The club as well. We knew these boys were enthusiastic. We knew how well they could do. And potentially going up 3-2 in the series is a gigantic place for them to be. You said, what, 90% win rate for a team that goes 2-1 up? Fantastic.
I mean, it also has to be said that the club, this is arguably the biggest match of their career. It's one of the most pressure-filled moments that these players, these young men, will ever have had. And if you looked at them right now, you wouldn't know it. They're still turning to each other, still playing with the little hand warmers, you know, doing whatever it takes to keep their brain not concentrating on just waiting for this decision and waiting for this moment. And I am remarkably impressed with them in that regard. And much, of course, has to be said to their coach as well, who's keeping them chill. really just get their minds back into it. They have to do it instantly. This is part and parcel of competition. We go to the overtime. There's been a delay. Here we go. Who's going to win the kickoff? It's Lost, and it's the club. And he pumps it forward. It might be going straight in anyway. First clear and AJ, they pinch it away.
A little bit of poetic justice. That one flies its way in after such a long break. But KV1, his chance to score is typical, falling from that backboard. Now the three-man push for FaZe Clan, an opportunity for them to be going back on that blue half. Chance lost, though, leaves that ball in favor of AJ taking control. KV1 to pick up, to dodge the demo, and then to be able to 50 it alongside First Kill. Lost, going for a long shot, but typical, he is waiting back. That third-man positioning for FaZe has been extraordinary in this series so far.
That's got a lovely couple of touches, but KV1 just got the read on it. And KV1 is a player that's been heating up, simmering as this series has gone on. Pace from Lost. All defending right now from FaZe Clan. AJ, though, first touch, he follows it up. He might be able to win it for FaZe Clan, but it's saved away.
Astromic again. That goal line defense, he has been the savior of the club so far. An opportunity for him maybe to have his name up in lights with a goal. Lost goes nearly above AJ. Instead it falls to KV1. The right-hand corner is going to be battered with Typical taking it to the sky on that right-hand wing. Yet more chances, yet more opportunities. Astromic whiffing on one. First Killer to go high. He has been huge this series so far, but waiting on the wall like a limpet was lost.
Huge clearances from the club, beating that ball away, hoping there will be a miss. And there wasn't from First Killer. That allows the club in. KV1's going to win this one. First Killer, oh my God, so close to a redirect from Lost. He was up for that one, but couldn't quite connect.
We've seen those opportunities previously where Lost tries to swipe in to get a redirect. If he misses, they still get the goal. If he connects, there's still a very good chance they get the goal. The aerial fakes have been so big for the club so far through this series. Will they be continuing them even after that big pause?
Got boost for Astromic. Lovely first touch as well. The second not too bad either. The dunk is there from AJ. Typical's on the backboard. First Killer is taking out Lost. Now Typical will have some space to play with due to that bump. So does go over the top. Loves the air dribbles, does Typical. KV1 gets it past him though. It's becoming even. The club started the overtime better. I had a feeling that if this one wasn't one on kickoff, it would last for a while. And that's exactly what we're seeing. KV1 almost sees that ball go over his head.
Yeah, good turnaround though from him. Is able to also pass it back to Lost, and so it doesn't even leave the half. Despite how threatening that ball started to look. Finally it does. And Lost sends it straight back again into the orange side. First Killer wanting to get it towards Typical for that first shot, just wide of the goal this time. The club, this is now their area of pressure. They are carving an opportunity for a goal with the amount of pressure they're putting on the FaZe Clan goal.
Huge respect to the club. They're looking anything but tilted right now. In fact, they're refreshed, ready to get us back to the way things were looking in those first couple of games. Lost up against AJ. Lost and AJ continue. Bit of a rule 2 right there, but Lost rightly breaks it. AJ booms it. First Killer is there. He has double. First Killer, of course, will sink that all day long. FaZe Clan put themselves on match point.
3-2 in the series, and the man First Killer is the one to double it in. Nobody from the club is present to save it away.
Typical holds up his new controller with a smile as well, so he's starting to have some fun up there on the stage. FaZe Clan, they do go 3-2 up. And of course, First Killer, he is going to sink that as soon as he has that much time on the ball. His first touch, always flawless. His second one, the exact one they need to break club hearts. And the club now, it's a really tough position for them.
It's been such a tumultuous series for both of these sides where, we have had a couple of tech errors. This was the second one that we just saw. And the fact that now we're seeing the club having to work back from that and FaZe Clan to keep their composure through that as well. It's so evenly hard on both sides of these competitors. It happens. Disconnects go on, and yet First Killer, no matter what, he has got the ice when he needs it.
And they're only one game away from winning their first series at these World Championships. It's understandable for a team like FaZe Clan starting a little bit slowly after not being part of that wildcard stage. Here they are now, and they have ramped it up.
And lest we forget, the first series of today. Been a big old day so far.
It has.
We're finishing up by about 4 p.m. local time roughly thus far, so maybe this one will just be sneaking a little bit past, and we're going to have to delay our dinner plans. But FaZe Clan, they want to shut it out now. They don't want to be going to 7.
What about you, mate? But I eat Rocket League for dinner. I don't need to eat food. This is what it's all about.
You really should.
Long days of Rocket League. Astromic thinks about closing that one down. We're here on Neo Tokyo, Stumpy. Can the club rally?
They definitely have been so far. They started off incredibly strong in this series, going up 2-0 to begin with. If anybody missed the start of this series, And the fact that, you said that there was a 90% chance, or a 90% win rate rather, for any team that goes 2-0 up in a series, FaZe Clan, they're wanting to be part of that unimaginable 10%.
Lost wants to take his time here, but instead just booms it. First killer, always flipped a little bit early there, but of course turned it into some brilliance. Actually tees up Typical. The club didn't see it coming, and it is FaZe Clan that take the lead here on Game 6. It was first. He sucked the club in, and then he snapped it away towards Typical. Astromic had left the ball alone. Typical found himself completely all by himself in no man's land, and he pretty much couldn't miss.
Early lead for FaZe Clan, but interestingly about them, they are actually somehow the second worst win rate when they score first in this entire competition throughout the season. They will still probably win, but it's a weird one.
Well, there you go. Let's see if that plays into effect. Astromic is around the corner. That one's into the center. Lost is there, but first killer in defense is so good. Astromic touches it towards Lost. Typical now. The FaZe Clan defending is looking exactly what they need. It's back to the wall stuff, but they're managing to survive every single time. And then the club, they just don't quite have that incisive final touch. FaZe Clan, on the other hand, when they come forward, they're so dangerous.
Oh!
Stinks it. FaZe Clan 2 up.
The left-hand side saw the fake come in from first killer, where he goes up for it, leaves it away. Astromic is banking on that, and Lost in net sees Typical come out of nowhere.
It's good counter-attacking from FaZe Clan, but it's just a little bit messy from the club. Those touches that were so precise earlier now finding their way to FaZe Clan players. They have to figure it out quickly. They do still have time. A couple of goals in 3.5 minutes can certainly be done. AJ, does he want this second touch? He can't get it if he does. Falls to Typical. So many of these approaches from the club, they just don't have that third man coming in at the right time. And FaZe Clan are just swallowing up any attacks.
Astromic to flick high in the center on the right-hand side. Those Typical man reborn is able to get that pass off, but Lost instead receiving, wanting to shoot on that open net, tries to pinch it low, but first killer. Their defense is absurd.
How is he always there? First killer just gets his car in the way of everything, and then that's a shot for himself down the other side. That's a lovely fake, though, from Lost on Typical. How much will that open things up? Lost is going for an edge. Well, AJ up this time. First killer falling on his own goal line.
Well, first killer, I think, did not believe in AJ to get that ball. He went up in anticipation of him missing. It's not led to anything, but if double commits like that do continue, especially on defense, you might find yourself in a bit of a sticky situation where two have gone. Typical trying to pass it back down to the ball benefactor of AJ.
Lost waits. Wants to use this moment at the perfect time. Again, the prod over the top. Just FaZe Clan aren't falling for these. God, they need to mix up their approach. It's not happening for them. FaZe Clan in the center, playing at their best now. Surely seeing this one away.
FaZe are looking brilliant. They have got speed, they have got accuracy, they've got agility around the club, and they're running rings around a team that was earlier on just squeaking out these overtime wins. The club are looking like a shadow of themselves from the start of this series. It's been a very long series, much longer than we ever would have anticipated, but they need to get their heads back in it. It's 3 goals with half the game left.
I mean, the club have been here for a week. It's not just been a long day, not just been a long series. It's been a long 7 or so days for them.
They went to 5 in their Swiss.
Yeah, going at all 5. Best of 7s as well. Completely understand why the fatigue would be just starting to reach them and affect their gameplay. These touches just going to FaZe Clan players. FaZe Clan playing with their food right now, but that clearance is good. Lost is in the corner. 1 goal can change everything. KV1 into the center. Astromic is there, but AJ again. FaZe Clan, when did they become defensive wizards?
We were touting their offense at the start of this series, as was Gibbs talking about first killer, being first in goal shots, whatever it ended up being. This defense has been the sign of a team that has worked incredibly hard to know that sometimes they will come up against offense that may well be better than the 3 of them combined, and in those situations they have got to be clutch.
Oh, so close to the 4th. That really would have been the finishing blow. The club just about hang on. Never going to be easy against a team this good. Lost KV1 and Astromic. Can't just put them to bed too easily, but AJ wants to do it right there. The backboard plays. Astromic with the read. And a good touch from Lost, but first killer just bumps them out of the way, makes it so difficult for Astromic. Typical into the middle. KV1, this has to go in. This has to be the chance for the club. Oh! Go in. The club do show a sign of life.
KV1 striking like a viper. Opportunity for him to go high and steady. Fakes it low with the reset as well. Swoops it bottom left corner. An eruption of nature on the otherwise concrete park.
58 seconds separate the club with one of the comeback wins of the season. Were they able to manage it? Lost. That was going higher, struggling not quite in the right place, so Typical gratefully and First Killer. The two of them go. First Killer somehow keeps his momentum, stays behind that ball. FaZe Clan just needs to swallow up those seconds to see this one away. AJ with the flip reset, but Lost is going to take a touch.
Chance for him to go solo on this ball versus Typical, but flicking early because he had no boost. Symptomatic of a team that is being boost staffed. Typical going high with it, does have one reset, wants to get it over the top, but Lost maybe didn't have that reset on it in the end. Final 25 seconds, FaZe Clan clear by 2.
The club, they got 2 games versus SSG to start off their tournament. They got 2 games versus version 1 to force that Series 5, and it is looking like, up against FaZe Clan, they will be held to 2 games yet again as more saves come in. First Killer's behind the ball. FaZe Clan gonna be able to see this best of 7 away. It was not at all easy, but FaZe Clan, one of the North American favorites, they don't get that last goal. It doesn't matter at all. They take this series and breathe a huge sigh of relief.
The club fought incredibly hard, but they will be going into the lower bracket.